Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this card, which is a 5x7 block easel card. Now this is something that I saw Dyes, Den, Stamping and Crafts do, and also saw Mixed Up Crafts do it as well. I really liked it as well because obviously it's this whole pillar type idea, and I've recently just done that panoramic, the panoramic panel card with the blocks, with the pillars. I've got quite a few more ideas with these pillars, and I've seen other ideas as well with these pillars, so they will be coming up soon. So yes, this is the one I've done. So that's what it looks like on the side and from the front, and then you just literally lift that up, that folds down flat like that, and then that folds over the top, and it fits into an envelope for a 5x7 card. Now it's quite an easy one if you want to downsize it, because I know 5x7 is too big for some countries. If you want to downsize this, it's really quite easy to do. What you need to do is, obviously, this front panel is 5x7. So say, for example, you want it to be 4x6 instead. So 4 and then 6. Then do your 4x6. Your big panel, which I'm going to show you in a minute, needs to be 4 inches wide. And then this is just like your normal kind of easel. This is like a normal easel setup. And I've added a little bit extra, and then this cube is extra on the front. So I know with Mixed Up Crafts, and I think Dyes Den as well, she did it, both of them did it so that this was integral. So all of that is all integral, all the same piece of card, and then this bit here was extra, and then this was extra again. But I've changed it slightly because my brain wasn't thinking that way, so I've done my own version. So anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so it looks like you need quite a lot of bits, but they're not, you don't really need that many bits. So for the base card, what you're going to need is a base card, and I've done double-sided. This is actually Paper Mill Direct Vinio Sirio 290 GSM card, so it's quite thick, and I probably wouldn't go this thick to do it, but it will make a sturdy card. But I've just tried to keep my papers as thin as I can, and my mats, otherwise it is going to be too thick. So this is 5 inches by 11 inches. Then you need another piece that's 5x7 and another piece that's 5x5. Okay, so I'm going to go and score these first, and then we'll come on to these bits in a minute. Okay, so the piece that's 5x7 you don't need to score, so that can go to one side. So the bits that's 5x11, you just put it on your scoreboard, and you're just going to score at 3.5 and at 7. And that's all you're going to do on that one. Okay, so it's going to mounting fold those. Both of those pieces are mounting fold. Now, because this is 290 GSM, it's really very thick indeed. And you really want to make sure that that 7-inch crease is really nicely burnished. Got a bit of cracking on my card as well, but that, again, I think it's because it's such thick card. And that's why it's doing it. So there we go. So that's that bit. So that's what you're going to end up with that. So that can go to one side for now. Your 5x5 square, you're literally going to score every inch. You're going to score at 1 inch, at 2 inch, at 3 inches, and at 4 inches. And that is that. And then you're just going to go ahead and you're just going to bend and burnish. Oh dear, I've got some cracking going on. If you end up like that with cracking, then just fold it back on itself, and hopefully the other side won't be cracked. Mine isn't. Mine's actually all right. I'm going to fold it all that way actually now and see if it makes a difference. So you can put that to one side, and then you need to bring in your mat pieces. Now, your mat pieces, you are going to need one piece that is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. You need another piece that is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, and another piece that is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so they're your main big pieces. And then you need 3 pieces that are 7/8 by 4 7/8. Now the border on these is slightly less than the border on this. It's fine, it's just that if you go for the same border as this, then these strips end up being ridiculously small, and your paper is literally 1/2 inch, if that. It's ridiculous. So it's just easier just to do them a slightly smaller border, and do it that way. And then you also want to have your pattern pieces. Now I've gone with 2 different patterns on mine. So I've done one piece of pattern. So let me show you on my original. So I've done one pattern here, which is this floral. And then I've also got this leaf pattern, which I've used at the back here. And I've used it again on the pillar, on the block there on the front. So I'm sticking to that. And I'm using, this is my front piece. And this is going to be what's on the pillar and in that back section. So it's up to you what you want to do. So this piece here is 4.5 by 6.5. And then I've got one piece that is 3 inches by 4.5. And those 3 strips, which are 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick these all onto my matte layers. Now you'll notice that with your matte layers, you've got a smaller, these are both the same width, but you've got one that's slightly smaller than the other. This piece of pattern paper goes on the larger of the 2 mats. And this one will be for when we put a plain white piece on, which we'll come to in a minute. So I'm just going to go ahead now and stick all of these bits down onto here. And just leave, I'll come back to that matte one in a minute. Okay, so now we can go ahead and stick our pieces onto our base card. Also, I forgot to mention where these papers are. So these papers are from Dovecraft. And it's the Butterfly Kisses paper pad, and they've also got a decoupage pad as well. So there's that as well. I think I covered it in one of my craft hauls a while ago. That's when I got it. But I love these papers. They're so nice. So yeah, so that's the paper I'm using. And the topper is also from the decoupage pad that goes with this one. Right, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and stick my 5x7 one, well, the bigger piece, onto the front of my 5x7 panel. It's not 5x7, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead now and just stick that down. Okay, so that's stuck down. So let's bring in our main piece. So the piece that you folded, you should have the biggest section at the bottom and then the other 2 smaller sections at the top. Okay, so that's how it should be, because that's how it's going to sit. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up like this, and this is going to stick on here, and we're just going to stick it onto this bottom section here. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue. Again, use tape, use glue, whatever, but it just needs to be something that's going to stick well. You could use red tape if you want to. You might get away with, I would say you'd probably get away with normal double-sided. As long as it's good double-sided tape, you should be fine. So then we're going to stick this on. This is the bottom, so I'm going to line that up with the bottom of my card base. So when you open it up on the side, that's what you have. So that's going to sit like that, like an easel would. Okay, and so what we're going to do now is just open this up. So it's like that, just like that. And I'm just opening it up like that, and we're going to stick we're going to stick the piece on here. We're not going to do this bit just yet. So we're going to open it up. So this piece here that's in the middle, that's the one that you want to put your pattern piece that you've just done. That is going to go there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. If you wanted to, you could make this piece the piece that has your message on it. So it just means then you just need to flip your measurements around and cut a smaller pattern piece for the base and have your white piece of card as this measurement. So it's really up to you what you want to do, but I decided that I wanted to write on the actual base bit here rather than write on this bit. So that's that bit in. Okay, so there's your top bit like that. Then you open it up, and that's the bit inside. So now we're going to go ahead and sort out the block that sits on the front, and then we're going to come back and stick our other piece in here. So for the block, obviously this is what you've made. You've done this already, you fold this already. So we're just going to stick this down. Now bear in mind which way you want it to fold. So it's going to fold in the card, so that's the front of your card. It's going to fold down flat that way. Okay, so if yours folds better, I mean, if you folded it in such a way, see, that doesn't want to fold flat that way, but it will fold flat that way without too much trouble. So because of that, I think I'm going to actually just change that around like that. Does that fold flat better? If you're really struggling to get it to fold, then it might just be like this one is, that it's just a little bit too long. So you can just trim a little bit off the end. I'm going to do that on mine. just to make sure that it definitely, you know, doesn't overlap and butt up against each other. So I've done mine like, if you can see, like that, and then it's going to fold that way down. So this is going to be along the bottom edge. This bit here is going to be at the front of my card. So because of that, I'm just going to open that up, put some glue on here, and then stick it back down. Now for this, I would definitely use red tape or a strong glue like Yoo-hoo or whatever strong glue you have, because this is a 3D element on your card. So you do want it to be nice and stable. So we're just going to do that, fold that over and stick that down. Okay, like that. Just going to make sure no glue, because I've got a bit of a glue leakage situation there. Okay, so with that like that, so you can see it's like a diamond. So this is going to be the equivalent of, oh, no. So this bit here is this bit, that bit is the top, and the bit there is the back. Okay, so then you know they're the bits you need to decorate. Now you can either decorate it now or you can decorate it once you've got it on the card. I'm going to decorate mine now because I know which bits I'm decorating. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these on. So one goes at the front, and again it's good to know which way round you're doing it, because if you've got a paper that has a right way up on it, a directional pattern, then you're going to need to know which way round it needs to be. And so you're going to need to know which way your pillar is. So it's going to go ahead and stick that on. Now the border on this is very small. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is why I find wet glue a lot easier, because I can kind of shimmy it into place. And then we're going to stick this one on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip this. Actually, I'm going to flip it around this way, because that will be the right way up then. I mean, that doesn't really have a direction on it, but if it did, then that's what you'd want to do. If you want to, you can kind of look at your block before you put it down and draw little arrows in the middle of your panels, just so you know which way up it's going to be. So if you've got a directional pattern, you know which way up you need your patterns to be. So that's this one here. So that goes on there like that. There we go. Okay, so that's that. So now we're going to bring back our card base, and what we're going to do is the one panel that's left, we're going to put some glue on that, and then we're going to stick that down at the front of the card. Right, for some reason my thing is lifting up. And again, for this you would need red tape or a strong glue. You don't want to use normal double-sided, because you're sticking a 3D element. Not only is it a 3D element, it's also something that's going to hold up the rest of your card. So you really do want it to be well stuck down. So I'm going to stick that down so that that edge there butts up with the bottom edge of your card. And when it's in place, you can just pop it forward. And as you can see there, let's get my glue strings out of the way. So that edge is the edge there. Okay, so then this should pop forward, and it should then, if I put it sideways, you can see, should then stand up. So all we need to do now is add your mat onto here, and then we also need to add your mat onto there, and then we also need to add the white piece as well. Okay, so you're going to take your other mat piece that's left over. Now, if like me, you forget to cut down the length of your card to 11 inches, which is what I was supposed to do, but I didn't. So I've now got a bigger piece here than I should have. But it's fine, it doesn't matter. I actually don't mind it. So if you wanted to, you could leave it as, because actually that stands up quite nicely. So if you wanted to, you could leave the length of your A4, which is about 11 3/4 roughly, and just cut it down to 5 inches wide. That is absolutely fine. Just do your scores as I told you. It just means you end up with a bigger bit at this end, but you know, it really doesn't matter. So you're going to go ahead and stick your matte piece down onto that bit there, and then you also need a white piece of card. If you follow my original measurements, it will need to be 2.5 inches by 4.5. If you don't and you end up like this, then just cut it to fit within your mat and your border. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead down and stick that down. Also, if you want to stamp a greeting, do it now. I'm going to leave it blank, because quite often I need thank you cards, so I'm going to leave this, because the sentiment I've got on the front says just for you. So this could end up being a thank you card. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down. Okay, so I've stuck that down. So if I now bring this over like this, and then all we need to do is go ahead and decorate it. So I've chosen just for you. This is out the decoupage pad, and that's going to just sit on the front there like that. Oh, let me turn it around. It's going to sit on the front there like that on some pads. And then I also popped these bits out. Now these are actually what you're supposed to use on the decoupage, so that should really go on there like that. But I'm actually going to use them on the front and make a little bouquet type thing on the front here on that step, because I thought that was quite nice. On the original one I actually fussy cut out some papers, and these papers were actually from a magazine bundle that I got in Tesco's, which I'll show you at the end. And one of the sheets had these large flowers which you could fussy cut out, so I fussy cut them out. They're quite thin, the paper's quite thin, and I just layered them up. And then this was actually from a different pack. This was actually from something I got given ages ago. But yeah, all of these papers and this was all out of the magazine. So let me go ahead now. I'm just going to stick this down onto the front and arrange my flowers on the front as well. Okay, so sorry it's gone a bit dark. The sun was encroaching on my desk, so I've had to shut the curtain and open the other curtain. But anyway, so that's the finished thing. So as you can see, I've stuck these on the front here, and these tiny little flowers are what you're supposed to add in on the decoupage on there, but I've just stuck them on the front. So that's what it looks like. Obviously you need to just pop this for a little more because I've been squashing it. So that's what it looks like from the side, and then that's the front like that, and then obviously you open it up, and that's where your message will be, and that's the inside. So yeah, so I hope you have a go. I really like this card actually. I really do like this card. I think it's a really nice card, really nice shape. I like the fact it folds flat. Obviously that, if you look at that angle, that is a lot more laid back than this one is. Well, not a lot more, but it is a bit more laid back. I don't know if you can, this is slightly more upright, and it's just because of this distance here. So as I said, this one I forgot to cut mine down to 11 inches. So on my original, which is the measurements I've given you at the beginning, that section there is 3 inches, but on this one, that section is more like 3.5. So I've gained an extra ½ inch. So it's really up to you. It just means that you've got a more laid back you know, pop-up piece there, not pop-up but easel piece, and obviously you've got more space to write, and then this one, it's a bit more upright, slightly bit, I mean you can probably see it there. If I put them next to each other, can you see how this looks shorter? It's just because that's laid back more. But yeah, it's a nice card, really pretty. So yeah, have a go, and there's lots of different things you can do. Obviously there's lots of things you could have on the front there. You could do all sorts. So yeah, so I hope you'll have a go. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the notification bell. I'm almost at 10k subscribers, which I'm actually over the moon about, because I was saying at the beginning of the year that I wanted to get to 10k by August. Well, we're only now in May, and I'm already like almost at 10k, so that's awesome. So thank you everybody. Please, as I said, like and subscribe. It means the world, and it really helps me to carry on doing what I'm doing with this channel. Yeah, and then we'll see you again next time. Okie doke, bye.